Strategy can now buy 1,000 Bitcoin per day. Yes, per day. Their new vehicle could change the game forever. Also, we're going to break down what actually happened with the crypto structure bill. Why was it killed? And why is it already back to life? And after that, we're going to talk about the hard truth on inflation. Why the Fed keeps printing money. Why prices are still rising even though they tell us inflation is down. And why Bitcoin might be the only escape hatch. And lastly, we'll talk about the fabled alt season. Is it dead forever, or are we on the precipice of the next big bull run in alts? All this and more on Around the Block, the crypto news show that keeps you up to date so you can get an edge in the market. And real quick, I just want to say this is not financial advice, it's for education purposes only. Strategy is known to be the first Bitcoin treasury company and the first company to flip the whole financial model on its head. But their newest vehicle, STRC, is so revolutionary that no one's ever seen anything like it. This tool allows you to earn 10 to 11% annually, and they use the proceeds to buy more Bitcoin and add to their strategic reserve. At the current levels, they will be able to buy 1,000 Bitcoin per day. Now, if that were to continue, that's 252,000 Bitcoin over the course of the year. At current prices, that translates into over $11 billion that Strategy is taking off the market. Now, remember, there can only be 450 Bitcoin per day mined across the entire world, and Strategy can buy over 1,000 per day. Now, there is 450 Bitcoin made every day, and Strategy can only buy every trading day, but you can see that this one player could be responsible for the vast majority of the new Bitcoin being taken off the market. And when you combine that with the ETF inflows, you can see that we are taking way more Bitcoin off the market than is being produced every single day. That basically means that all of the new Bitcoin per day is being absorbed by just a few different financial institutions. Pretty soon, the only way you're going to be able to get your hands on Bitcoin is through someone who's willing to sell it. And as the demand keeps rising, the ability to purchase Bitcoin under 100,000 is going to be very short-lived, in my opinion. Now, while there's been a ton of rumors about Strategy not being able to pay their dividends, being a Ponzi scheme, let's look at what the big money's doing. We've got Vanguard Group, the mid-cap index fund, disclosing they have over $500 million of Strategy. At the same time, the $21 billion ETC disclosed they have $42 million of Strategy, and that is an increase of 104% from their last disclosure. The big money is betting that Strategy will accomplish their goals. Now, arguably some of the biggest news has to be the crypto structure bill. We thought we were going to get that to pass very quickly, but it turns out, as usual, there are quite a few lines in that bill that are not acceptable to people like Coinbase and other big exchanges. The biggest one being the ability for exchanges to offer yield on stablecoins that are resting idle. The banks are absolutely scared of this, and let's hear what CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, has to say.
Well, I think the high-level principle here is that we can't really have banks come in and try to kill their competition at the expense of the American consumer, right? People in America should be able to earn more money on their money. I think stablecoins are an opportunity for banks. They should be able to build great product lines with this. It's an opportunity for crypto companies. Congress and the laws that get passed, they should really create a level playing field and say, this is allowed, this is not allowed. Now, all American companies, go compete, try to build the best products and services. That's great. What's not great is if the banks can put their thumb on the scale to try to kill some of their competition, and they only pay about, 14 basis points on the average savings account. Consumers should be able to earn 3.8% on their stablecoin rewards. And so we're going to keep fighting for our customers' rights and the 52 million Americans who use crypto every day.
It's clear the banks are scared of companies like Coinbase that can offer 5, 10, 20 times the average interest on a savings account at a bank. I really think it is critical that we get this regulation right. Let's not rush into a bill. That's essentially what Brian Armstrong is saying. Let's get the bill right and not just get a bill passed for the sake of getting a bill passed. Now, the general consensus seems to be this bill will pass, and it will pass soon. Of course, they need to get all of the fine print dialed, but it does look likely to pass based on conventional wisdom. Now, I think some of the big money has already positioned itself knowing this is going to pass. Remember, big money moves in secret when they can. They are absolutely accumulating before this passes, which is probably why you've seen that recent run up from about 80,000 up to 95,000 at the time of this recording. However, there's a lot of big money that can't move into this space yet. They need this clarity before they do. And I think once this act is passed, provided the provisions are all the right way, we are going to see a massive inflow into crypto and Bitcoin. And if you're enjoying this video and you want to get even more of an edge in the crypto space, you want to learn how you can harness the power of DeFi, you want to get coin reviews before everyone else, you want to get up-to-date information, and get access to our real-time trade alerts, then I recommend you join the Blockchain Boardroom Alpha Hub. We've got everything I just described and more, and for a limited time, you can join for only $19 a month. Once the founder's discount expires, it's going to resume at $200 a month. So if you're interested, I recommend scrolling to the bottom of this video and signing up now. All right, let's get back to the video. Now let's talk about inflation, the one thing the government doesn't want to have a real conversation about ever. Let's forget about the official BS numbers for a second. You feel it every day. At the grocery store, when you look at your energy bill, when you look at the price of buying a home. It's not a talking point anymore. It's about the reality of the cost of living becoming completely unaffordable for the average American. Inflation is the invisible tax that drains your economic energy. And let's listen to what Elon has to say.
So I call it magic money computer, any computer which can just make money out of thin air. That's magic money.
So how does that work?
It just issues payments.
And you said there's something like 11 of these computers at Treasury that are sending out trillions in payments?
They're mostly at Treasury. Some are, but there's some at HHS, some at, there's one or two at State, there's some at DOD. I think we found now 14 magic money computers.
14, okay.
They just send money out of nothing.
Money printed out of thin air. And don't worry, they've just borrowed against the future tax revenue or earnings of you and your family. That's not okay with me, and that shouldn't be okay with anyone. Bitcoin is that asset you can't print out of thin air, contrary to popular belief. It needs to be mined, and there has to be real computer power and electricity to create that Bitcoin. That's why over time, it's been the best hedge against inflation on a long time horizon. Take a look here. In 2015, a brand new iPhone was 2.67 Bitcoin. 2025, it was 0.01. In 2015, if you wanted to buy the average home, it would have cost you $299,000 or so. That was 1,300 Bitcoin. Fast forward 10 years later, that home is now $426,000, but only 3.8 Bitcoin. The world gets cheaper in Bitcoin every single year. And finally, let's talk about the fabled alt season. I've been around for multiple alt seasons, getting involved in crypto in 2017. And when this happens, it is absolutely absurd. I don't believe we saw one in 2025, contrary to what some people believe. Let's look at the flow of money here. Phase one is Bitcoin. Bitcoin continues to rally, and quickly you start to see the money flow downhill into Ethereum. What happens is people get fat and happy. They're sitting on so much profit, and they think Bitcoin might be out of gas. So they start to roll that money downhill, in this case, to some of the large assets, Ethereum typically being first. And since the market cap of Bitcoin is so much higher than Ethereum, it doesn't take a lot of that money rotating over to really move the price. Then people are fat and happy on Ethereum and start moving the money further and further down the risk curve. The key is reaching phase 4, alt season, where these small cap tokens can do a 10, 20, 50, 1000x. Now, this is not financial advice. This is just purely informational, and I'll show you what happened before and if this could happen again. Now, the type of rallies we've seen out of altcoins during these cycles have been nothing short of miraculous. In 2017, we saw an average 423% rally, 2021, 503, and this particular model projects that in 2026, there'll be a 702%. Now, that could happen, but there's one main challenge that I'm going to mention in a second here. But first, let's talk about the thing that needs to happen for alt season to occur, and that's for Bitcoin dominance to collapse. So Bitcoin dominance is the percentage of the overall money in crypto that's sitting in Bitcoin. When the money flows downhill, as I've described, the Bitcoin dominance, the percentage of the overall money sitting in Bitcoin, decreases. And again, since there's so much of that money and since the market cap is so large, it absolutely explodes the prices of the smaller assets. At least that's what it's done historically. This is a chart of the altcoins versus Bitcoin in terms of the dominance. You can see we're about to hit a trend line. And if we bounce off this trend line like we have previously, this could mean an absolutely parabolic alt season. Now here's the truth that not a lot of people will admit. In previous cycles, there were not nearly as many altcoins. There were a very small number. So when the money flowed downhill, you couldn't really miss. anything you bought was going up 40% every day for weeks on end because there weren't many choices. If we look at the number of failed cryptocurrency projects by year, in 2021, there was about 2,600. Fast forward to 2025, there were over 11.5 million. So how do you pick the winner? I'll give you a few different strategies that I've used to pick massive winners. I've had over 100 X's multiple times in alt season. Number 1, tracking whale wallets. This is probably one of the most profitable strategies I've ever deployed. You can look on chain. You can look at tokens that were actually bought by winning traders. It's not that hard once you know how to do it. You can look at coins that have had absolutely massive parabolic runs. You can see the top traders of those coins and then look at what else they're holding and set up alerts so that you know what they buy. Now, I'm not saying to buy blindly by any means, but at least gives you some insight onto what coin to research next. Number 2, focusing on narratives. Narratives are arguably one of the most powerful things in alt season. A narrative is essentially which sector is getting the most attention. And attention means profit. Some of the biggest ones in 25 leading into 26 have been AI agents, prediction markets, and robotics. Now, there's going to be many other ones that come up, but sticking in the narratives that are hot at the moment can be an extra edge in the market, no doubt. And number 3 is getting yourself well educated, getting into a group of people that know this stuff. And one of the best places to do that, in my opinion, is the Blockchain Boardroom Alpha Hub. Inside of the Blockchain Boardroom Alpha Hub, we have some extremely successful investors, people worth tens of millions of dollars. And inside the hub, we provide training, coin reviews, insights, whale wallet tracking, and breaking news to keep you ahead of the entire market. If you're interested in learning more, just scroll down to the description of this video. And for right now, limited time only, you can join for literally 90% off. And regardless if you join or not, I hope you subscribe to these videos so you can stay up to date and get information that continues to give you that small edge in the market. The huge edge in the market can be done through the Alpha Hub, but even these videos, I believe, can definitely set you up for success.